In the beginning of the 19th century, he was called the Liberator. A new state was named after him in South America as an honor to him. Thanks to his jubilant energy, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru attained independence. "I'll do everything in my power for America," Simon Bolivar, one of the leaders of liberation movement against Spanish rule, said. Simon José Antonio Bolivar y Palacios was born in 1783 in Caracas in an aristocratic family. In the 16th century, his ancestors, the Basques, moved from Spain to Venezuela, which became a Spanish territory. When he was 10, Simon became an orphan. But thanks to the concern of his tutor, the outstanding philosopher and pedagogue Rodriguez, the boy got a good home, education, and then he studied in Europe. When he was only 19 years old, he got married, but his dreams of a happy family life were never destined to come true. His young wife died of jungle fever. Broken-hearted, Simon vowed faithfulness to his late wife. Despite his aristocratic origins, Simon Bolivar y Palacios was a Creole, a Spaniard, born in colonial land. In South America, even rich Creoles like Bolivar suffered discrimination and had no right to hold important state and military posts. The colonial authorities reserved such positions to only those who were born in Spain. Under the influence of his teacher and friend Rodriguez, Simon Bolivar decided to dedicate his life to the liberation of his homeland from Spanish rule. On the 15th of August, 1805, on the Monte Sacro Hill in Rome, Bolivar pronounced solemnly, "I swear that my hand will not get tired until the chains of Spanish servitude are broken." In 1810, armed revolts broke out in the South American colonies. 27-year-old Simon Bolivar headed one of the detachments. His education, knowledge of military science, and great authority distinguished Bolivar from the others. After 3 years of war, which had varied results, his detachment triumphantly entered Caracas. Popular among common people and the circles of Creole aristocracy, Bolivar won the title of the Liberator of Venezuela and headed the Second Republic of Venezuela. The victory soon changed to defeat, and the rebel leader had to seek sanctuary in Jamaica. But nothing could turn him off the chosen way. In 1815, he published an open letter which became the program document for the War of Independence of Spanish colonies. In a year, Bolivar summoned his adherents again and waged a successful war in Venezuela and New Granada. On a hot day in July of 1822, Bolivar's victorious army entered the Ecuadorian capital, Quito. Exultant people were strewing the dust-laden soldiers with flowers. Military leader Bolivar, in gold-embroidered uniform, was riding a white horse. And suddenly a laurel wreath fell from one of the balconies right into Simon's hands. He raised his head and was stunned by the fiery gaze of a black-haired Creole beauty. This is how the love story of Simon Bolivar and Manuela Sáenz started. The story which is remembered even by those in Spanish-speaking America who have forgotten names and dates of important battles. Simon and Manuela didn't dare think of joining their lives in the face of God and people. Both were bound, one by the oath of faithfulness to his late wife, the other by marriage. But Manuela forever remained his lover and inseparable partner in his life. Rebel leader Simon Bolivar was elected president of the state with Venezuela, Ecuador, and New Granada, today's Colombia, included. After the final defeat of Spanish forces in South America, the Peruvian Congress appointed Bolivar as the dictator with unlimited military and civil powers. And in 1825, in honor of General Bolivar, Upper Peru was renamed as the Bolivian Republic. One of his friends wrote about him. He lived as if among flashes of fire, and he himself was fire. Simon made grand plans. He wanted to unify all the liberated colonies. But the Panamanian Congress, summoned in 1826 under his initiative, disapproved his idea. Simon wrote with sadness that at that moment he was like that crazy Greek who, sitting on a rock, tried to control ships passing by. Despite 15 years of heroic service for his home continent and 472 battles, yesterday's brothers-in-arms accuse Bolivar of striving to establish a dictatorship. This undermined the liberator's strength. He retired and was going to set off for voluntary expatriation in Europe. But Bolivar's plans were not to be realized. On the 17th of December, 1830, he died of tuberculosis. In Europe, his name is pronounced with stress on the last symbol, Bolivar. In the 1820s, a broad-brimmed gentleman's hat called a Bolivar in French was in fashion. Complete with broad-brimmed Bolivar, Eugene attends the boulevard, wrote Pushkin, who himself wore a hat like that as a sign of sympathy for Simon Bolivar. In America, Bolivar was very popular. One of the states in Venezuela and a monetary unit bear his name. The state of Bolivia was named after him also as an honor. Historical works and works of art are dedicated to him.